Galaxy Z Fold 7 is the first foldable from Samsung that makes the least number of compromises. So I think more than ever, people are wondering if it's better to buy this over the S25 Ultra. The Fold is a futuristic device that folds out into a tablet, and the S25 Ultra is the all-around king of slab phones. I have been using both since they launched, and there are many similarities, but by the end of this video, I will make sure that you know which is the right phone for you. Now, before we officially start the comparison, keep in mind that the Z Fold 7 starts at $2,000 and the S25 Ultra starts at $1,300. That is a $700 price difference, which could buy you Galaxy Buds 3 Pro and the Galaxy Watch 8. So I think that's the most important difference, but for this comparison, I want to focus on everything else, assuming that price is totally irrelevant, so we can identify what each phone brings to the table. This video is sponsored by MagBak. MagBak's Elite case for the Galaxy S25 Ultra is easily one of the most versatile cases I've ever tested. And the first thing you'll notice, ridiculously strong magnets that let you stick your phone to almost any magnetic surface in any orientation without worrying about it sliding or falling off. And if you're an S Pen user, no worries at all because their special magnetic design keeps the pen just as responsive as if the case wasn't even there. Protection-wise, it's built like an absolute tank. Drop rated to over 6 feet, reinforced bezels around the display and camera, grippy sides, microfiber inside, and impact-absorbing corners. There's a built-in kickstand for quick hands-free use, plus a finger loop that folds flat when you don't need it. My personal favorite, the pinky rest, a little cushion that makes long scrolling way more comfortable. In the box, you'll get a tempered glass screen protector, and you can get customizable color accents, and also a MagStick mount so you can attach your phone to any non-magnetic spot. Pair it also with MagBak's magnetic wallet, and you've got a slim modular setup that works anywhere. If you want a case that's tough, functional, and loaded with thoughtful extras, this one checks every box. Use the discount code 15legends and the link in the description and pinned comment down below to get 15% off your next purchase. With that said, let's kick it off with the design. Samsung finally nailed it with the Z Fold 7. After years of chunky foldables, this thing is actually slim and light. In my opinion, it is the best looking device of 2025, period. Unfolded, it's just 4.2 millimeters thin, folded, it is 8.9 millimeters thin, and it weighs only 215 grams. The hinge feels way sturdier than previous generations, and it doesn't feel as fragile as I thought it would, being so thin. The blue shadow color is my absolute favorite. It reminds me of my old Game Boy SP, and it just looks incredible. The downsides, that massive camera bump. I'm telling you, you're going to feel it and definitely hear it if you try to use this phone on a flat surface without a case. Also, you're still stuck with IP48, so don't expect the same water and dust protection you get from a regular flagship. Now, the S25 Ultra is built like a tank and has a very nice feeling and premium titanium frame, which I vastly prefer to the aluminum frame of the Fold. However, it is slightly taller, wider, and thicker than the Fold as well. Also, you're getting dust and water protection with a full IP68 rating, which is peace of mind that the Fold can't give you. I am still not a fan of the camera rings on the back, but it does not wobble nearly as bad as the Fold does on flat surfaces, so that's good. This phone feels like it can last years without a case, and oh yeah, you get the S Pen built right in. Also, you get more color options with the S25 Ultra, but the Z Fold 7's colors are way more vibrant and stand out more, which I personally prefer. Overall, the Fold 7 is one of the most beautiful phones I have ever owned, and it will probably still be for years to come. If you don't need titanium or better water and dust protection, why not give the Fold a try this year? For design, I have to give it to the Z Fold 7. It makes me excited to see what Samsung does with the S26 Ultra. Now for the camera, both phones are great, and actually the Fold 7 comes with some much needed upgrades because normally the Folds have older hardware, but the Fold 7 setup gives you a strong all-around camera system with a high detailed 50 megapixel main lens, which is the same as the S25 Ultra's, a 3x telephoto zoom for closer shots, and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide for fitting more into the frame. The S25 Ultra takes things further by adding a 5x periscope zoom, which lets you capture distant subjects a lot better and keep those details without losing a lot of the clarity. And it upgrades the ultra-wide to a sharper 50 megapixel sensor with steadier video. Here's a quick comparison in various scenarios between the two devices. Do you think the Fold can finally compete with the latest Ultra phone? Let me know down below. So now that we've seen the photos and the video, bottom line, I think the Fold 7 is finally a good camera setup and one I can actually get great pictures and video from. However, it is undeniable that the S25 Ultra is the better camera for still shots and video. And for the display, the Z Fold 7 gives you two gorgeous panels, an 8-inch foldable AMOLED at 120Hz on the inside, and a 6.5-inch AMOLED cover screen that's actually wide enough to type on comfortably now. Both hit 2600 nits of peak brightness, which is plenty, but I wish Samsung had pushed this up to closer to 3000 nits or more at this price point. One complaint: Samsung ditched the under-display selfie camera for a hole punch on the inside, and yeah, it's right in the middle of my videos, which I don't like. I think I would have just preferred them to remove it entirely. I never use my camera on the inner screen, and it doesn't really matter much to me, but it might matter to you. Moving to the S25 Ultra, you get a massive 6.9-inch AMOLED QHD+ 120Hz, also peaking at 2600 nits. You might be thinking, well, isn't that pretty similar to the Fold? Yes, but there is one significant difference: the anti-reflective coating. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is a total game changer, and I want all phones to adapt something similar. Even at lower brightness, it looks clearer outdoors than most phones at full blast. It is just a joy to use. Both of these phones are going to do great for typical things you might be doing, like scrolling through Reddit, for example, editing some photos or video, listening to music, playing mobile games, emulating games, and streaming games through things like Xbox Game Pass. You can't go wrong with either device, but if I had to choose a clear and definite winner, I would pick the Z Fold 7. Samsung made the front screen even more usable than ever, considering previous generations which were always too narrow, and you can always unfold it to get a tablet-sized screen. It's going to be easier to multitask, and it is just simply more enjoyable to use for watching content or gaming for long periods of time. If display is your priority, you should finally give foldables a try and pick up the Z Fold 7, that's my advice. You will not be disappointed. Where you might be a little disappointed, however, is the battery life. It still has a 4400 mAh battery with only 25 watts of charging. And that is the same as the Z Fold 3 from years ago. Samsung, you stepped it up with the design this year. But with the Z Fold 8, we need you to focus on battery and charging. I get between 5 and 7 hours of screen on time depending on how much I use that big inner display. It's completely fine and it will get me through the day, but with such a beautiful inner display, I wish I had more battery life to use it longer without having to charge it up. The Ultra, even though I still think it can be improved, it does much better in this category. You're getting a 5000 mAh battery and 45 watts of fast charging, getting you about 65% in 35 minutes, and I regularly get between 7 and 10 hours of screen on time, sometimes a little bit more, even with gaming for long periods of time. Both phones I use about the same, making phone calls, sending messages to family and friends, listening to music, taking photos and video, editing photos, watching content, and playing games. The Ultra is the clear winner here, and it will last you longer and charge up faster. And for the performance, both phones use the Snapdragon 8 Elite, apps open instantly, multitasking is extremely smooth, and gaming performs without any hiccups. The benchmarks show the S25 Ultra scoring slightly higher across the board, but in day-to-day use you won't notice any difference. Where you do notice a slight difference is in the thermals. My Fold 7 does run noticeably hotter during gaming, charging, and when I'm outdoors. The Ultra handles heat way better thanks to its larger vapor chamber, but with that said, I have not noticed throttling due to the heat management differences, and for that reason, I'm going to call this one a tie. You're getting insanely fast performance that will let you do whatever you want on both devices, no issues. Now for the software and the features, both get 7 years of software and security support, which is great, but something to note is that my Z Fold 7 is running Android 16 and One UI 8 out of the box, and my S25 Ultra is still running Android 15 and One UI 7. Is that a deal breaker? I don't think so, but I do hope the Ultra gets these updates soon. And I'm going to be honest, in daily use, I couldn't even tell you about the differences between the two devices unless I googled it. Not a big deal in my opinion, but it may be to you. And both devices are going to offer all the same incredible Samsung AI features that are extremely useful. But where the software differs slightly on the Fold is in the things that you simply cannot do or replicate with the Ultra, like Flex Mode, which is not a feature I use a lot, but some of you might like it more than I do. Other than some of the other features that it gives you, it also gives you a very easy way to view content without having to find a stand or a way to prop up your phone. You also have that amazing taskbar when multitasking on the inner screen, even though you can kind of replicate this slightly with the use of the edge bar. And where the Ultra gives you multitasking between two applications, the Fold gives you the ability to do three-way split applications, which is completely usable with that huge inner display. Of course, both will allow you to do a bunch of pop-up windows as well, but the software on the Fold just works better for more serious multitasking. But one thing Samsung removed from previous generations is the use of the S Pen. You no longer have support on the Z Fold 7. Now, I have said this in previous videos, but this feature is not one that I care about much, and it doesn't matter to me when deciding between these two devices, but if it's important to you, the S25 Ultra still offers the S Pen, and it's impossible to deny that it is extremely useful for productivity. Not only are there a ton of things you can do with it via its customizable tool wheel, but just doing things like editing photos or creating thumbnails for YouTube is easier because of the pinpoint accuracy of the S Pen. Also, if you enjoy writing notes or drawing, this is also going to be a major win for you. For that reason, I'm gonna have to call this one a draw. If you prioritize multitasking and media consumption, get the Fold. If you want the S Pen, the S25 Ultra is your only option, and it's still a really cool feature. So what is the final verdict? Let's tally it up. And also remember, both of these devices are incredible, and having used both since launch, I can confidently say you can't go wrong with either phone. For the design, the Fold 7 takes the win. The camera, definitely the S25 Ultra. Display, it was pretty close, but I have to give it to the Fold 7. Battery, definitely the S25 Ultra. Performance, both are great, and there's really no clear winner here, so it's going to be a draw for me. And lastly, for software and features, this is where the tiebreaker depends completely on you. Do you actually use the S Pen? The Ultra is the only device in this video that has that capability. If you don't, the Fold 7 is all the S25 Ultra is and more. For me personally, I'm gonna have to pick the Z Fold 7 as the overall winner this year. One last thing to consider though, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, that there is a $700 price difference between these two phones. This comparison was based on what each phone offers, but it's impossible to ignore the $700. What I can say is that if you have ever wanted to try a foldable, I am telling you, the Z Fold 7 is the foldable to buy in 2025. I absolutely love this phone. If this video helped you decide between these two incredible devices, please hit that like button down below and subscribe for more if you like what I do, and I will see all of you next time.